this is Sharon. You are watching Corporate Central. Today's biggest news from the world of corporate is Adani. So let's begin. SEBI seeks 6-month extension for Adani probe. Market regulator SEBI has requested an additional 6 months from Supreme Court to complete ongoing investigation into Adani case. On April 29, SEBI filed an application with the Supreme Court seeking to extend the investigation period. In March, the Supreme Court directed SEBI to complete investigation into the Adani case within 2 months and submit the investigation report to the Supreme Court. Adani Group also responded to SEBI's request to extend the investigation period. The Adani Group said that SEBI's application for an extension of the investigation period did not provide any information about the group's wrongdoing. In addition, the report claims that the Adani case investigation is progressing slowly and SEBI will face challenges in getting information from several foreign regulators, especially some FPIs, that is foreign portfolio investors, regarding the ultimate beneficial ownership. RIL eyes geofinancial listing by October. Reliance Industries Limited, the country's most valuable company, is in focus due to two news items. The first is that RIL aims to list Geofinancial Services Limited, that is JFSL, by October 2023. A meeting of company shareholders and creditors is scheduled for May 2 to discuss the demerger of JFSL and listing it separately. The second news item is that RIL is preparing to launch Campa nationwide in the next 3 weeks. Under this, Reliance Consumer Products Limited, that is RCPL, a subsidiary of RIL, has entered into agreement with Sri Lankan cricketer Muthaiya Muralidharan's beverage company, Ceylon Beverage International. Under the agreement, Ceylon Beverage International will manufacture packaging and cans for Campa soft drink. Ceylon is Sri Lanka's largest can and filling company. Both companies will establish a manufacturing plant for Campa soft drink in India. Now, as per the agreement, RCPL will also receive distribution rights for some of Ceylon's products in India. Vedanta chairman Anil Agarwal made two big announcements over the weekend. First, he pledged to become zero debt in next 2-3 years. According to him, the group has enough cash flows to repay its debt obligations. Agarwal stated that questioning the group's debt repayment capacity is baseless, as the group is expected to generate a revenue of $30 billion and profit of $9 billion next year, which would be enough to cover all payments related to debt. It is worth noting that this statement came after an increase in scrutiny on heavily indebted corporates following the Hindenburg's report on Adani Group. Vedanta has a debt of $13 billion. He also said that the group has the lowest debt among companies of this size worldwide. The second big announcement is that despite concerns about debt, he has prepared an aggressive plan to expand oil, zinc and aluminium production. The goal is to produce 3 lakh barrels of oil and gas in next 2 years and 5 lakh barrels in next 4 to 5 years, which was 1.42 lakh barrels in FY23. Similarly, the goal for zinc production is to increase it threefold to almost 3 million tons. The aim is to become a $100 billion company by 2030, which is currently $20 billion company. Tata Capital is in talks to raise 10,000 crore debt. Tata Sons is in talks to raise a loan of 10,000 crore with lenders or creditors of Tata Capital. Now, this amount will be used in lending business. Recently, the board of Tata Capital Financial Services Limited, that is TCFSL, has approved merger with Tata Cleantech Capital, that is TCL. Now, the fund raised in this quarter will help increase the balance sheet of the merged company. Tata Capital is becoming quite aggressive in the retail loan segment, and most of the funds raised will be used in home and personal loans. Financial services are of significant importance for Tata Sons. Therefore, Tata Sons plan to provide adequate funds to TCL through Tata Capital. During the weekend, 5 banks announced the results for the 4th quarter. The results of all 5 banks were stronger than expected. Now, 3 of them are private banks and 2 are government-owned bank. Speaking of private bank, the largest of these, that is Kotak Mahindra Bank, reported a profit of nearly 3,496 crore rupees in Q4, while the estimate was around 2,973 crore rupees. The bank's profit increased by 26.3% during the quarter. During this period, the bank's NII, that is net interest income, increased by 35% to INR 6,102.2 crore rupees. The provisioning reduced from 148.7 crore rupees to 147.6 crore rupees, and there has been an improvement in asset quality. Now, gross NPA, that is non-performing asset, decreased from 1.9% to 1.78% quarter on quarter. In addition to this, IDFC First Bank also reported record profit in Q4. Despite provisioning increasing by 7.2% QOQ to 482.4 crore rupees, the profit increased by 2.3 times to 802.6 crore rupees. The bank's gross NPA decreased from 2.96% to 2.51% QOQ. Speaking of RBL Bank, the bank's profit increased by 37.1% to 271.1 crore rupees in Q4. The NII increased by 7.1% year on year to 1,211.2 crore rupees. The provisioning reduced by 41.5% YOY from 400.7 crore rupees to 234.7 crore rupees, and net NPA reduced from 1.18% to 1.1% QOQ. Now, talking about government banks, the profit of Central Bank and India increased by 84% from 310 crore rupees to 571 crore rupees. Meanwhile, the NII increased by 45.4% from 2,416.1 crores to 3,512.7 crore rupees. The bank's gross NPA decreased from 8.85% to 8.44% QOQ. Now, let's look at IDBI Bank. The bank's profit in Q4 increased by 64.1% from 691 crore rupees to 1,133.4 crore rupees. Despite this, provisioning increased by 47.4% from 669.2 crore rupees to 986.3 crore rupees. Meanwhile, NII increased by 35.3% from 2,420.5 crore rupees to 3,279.6 crore rupees. The bank's gross NPA decreased from 13.82% to 6.38% quarter on quarter. Now, with this, let's look at the global updates from corporate world. China's media is in talk to acquire Electrolux, the luxury Swedish brand of the world's largest manufacturer of major appliances or consumer durables, Media Group. This proposed acquisition is a bold move by Media Group, as there is possibility of political opposition to this deal. In recent weeks, Media had initiated initial talks with Electrolux for the deal, but Electrolux was not in favor of this deal, despite the fact that these companies have a partnership in some products. In 2018, both companies had launched a high-end brand called AEG in China together. However, Media plans to make a friendly deal with this company. The acquisition of Electrolux will add to Media's previous foreign acquisitions. In 2016, the company had acquired a large stake in Toshiba's home appliances unit, and in 2017, Media acquired KUKA, a German company that manufactures robots. Meanwhile, Electrolux is in the process of reducing its expenses through layoffs of its 3,800 employees and turning around its North American business. Now, let's move to the startup world. Startups oppose separate law on digital markets. Industry body Internet and Mobile Association of India has opposed a separate law on digital markets. The reason is draft submission prepared by the association, which asks whether the country needs separate law to deal with competition from big tech firms or not. Now, some companies in the Indian startup ecosystem and personalities are not in agreement with IMAI's position. They claim to support such laws, and big tech companies have influenced opposition to the law in the industry body. Arguments will be submitted to the Committee on Digital Competition Law or CDCL by IMAI. CDCL is an organization established to examine the need for separate law on competition in digital market. Now, Google, Microsoft, Twitter, Meta and other big tech companies, Indian units are members of IAMAI, and these startups are demanding changes in the industry body. Additionally, On Thursday, Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has stated that due to government's efforts to promote startup, the number of startups in the country has increased to more than 90,000 in last 9 years. In 2014, there were only 350 startups. The Enforcement Directorate (ED) conducted searches at 3 locations related to the world's most valuable tech startup, Byjuy, last Saturday, including the startup CEO Byju's Ravindranan's residence and office. Byjuy has been accused of violating Foreign Exchange Management Act (FEMA) rules in the investment it received from the foreign companies. It was discovered during ED's raid that Byjuy had received direct foreign investment of rupees 28,000 crore rupees from 2011 to 2023. It has also been reported that ED may gather information about Byju's transaction and debts from various banks. There are concerns that after the ED's raid, Byjuy may face difficulties in raising new funding. In response to the case, Byju's CEO Ravindranan clarified to his employees through an email that Byjuy has received FDI of 28,000 crore rupees, which is the largest foreign investment by any startup in the country so far, and all the money came through banking channels. So, let's look at for triggers in the market. On 2nd May, results in focus are RBL Bank, Kotak Bank and IDFC First Bank. Now, let's see which stocks will move on results. They are Central Bank of India, IDBI Bank, Adani Green. Besides this, other stocks in focus because of results are Adani Total, Ambuja Cements, Tata Steel and Varun Beverages. Also, there will be focus on RIL. Shareholders and creditors meeting on JFSL's demerger will be a trigger. Now, UCO Bank board meeting looking to raise fund through FPO, QIP and preferential issue. On May 2, there will be an ION Fed meeting. 2-day Fed meeting will begin. Also, there will be global data on PMI manufacturing indexes from UK, Russia and across the world. And that's it for today. But we will be back tomorrow with more updates from the corporate world. Till then, goodbye.